Big fight weekend. Finally, big fight weekend. Doesn't feel like it though. It's Monday, so it's early, but doesn't feel like it, does it? Doesn't feel like it. What is this, UFC 320?
Yep.
So you have UFC 320 going down in Vegas?
That's a good question. I think it is T-Mobile.
Yep, it's in T-Mobile. Vegas. That was a trick question for you, Chin. I want to see how hardcore you were. Not very hardcore. That's okay.
Our locations, but yeah.
Oh, I do. Because if it's somewhere else, we're in a different time, bud. But you have Ankalaev, Alex Pereira. The rematch, I don't want to say nobody asked for, because I think it's something we need to see. And if you didn't do it, it would be a disservice to the sport. So we do need to see it. Ankalaev, I'm glad, agreed to it. Alex, I'm glad, agreed to it. I would assume Ankalaev's the favorite here. If you go to MyBookie or DraftKings.
DraftKings, yeah.
Yeah, I would assume Ankalaev is the favorite here.
He is.
But one thing you got to take into consideration is when he's a minus 258. That's a big boy number. One thing you got to take in consideration, when they fought last time, Alex was hurt, severely hurt. He had a lot of injuries. Remember, he's the guy who kept saying yes to UFC and kept fighting. Even though he's injured, he was trying to maximize his time as the champ. So he kept fighting. So I don't believe we got the best version of Alex we've seen, or even the version that we have seen where he's successful. We got a watered down version of that. So I do think Alex has the tools to pull this off. And for the sport and for the longevity of the UFC and for this new Paramount deal, you want Alex to win. And listen, I don't need a guy tweeting and doing all the shit talking and all that stuff. It's just Magomed's style, even though he's looked upon as a grappler, but there's just some disconnect there with the fan base and with the media where Magomed's not a bigger star. And this leads me to what Din Thomas said, where if you go to that Chin, Din Thomas was talking about, this is interesting. And I love Din because he's super involved with the UFC. Like, he's very close with Dana White. He has a million reasons not to say stuff like this because you in most cases you get disciplined, but Din speaks his mind. He has a podcast. He's on social media. He has Looking for a Fight with Dana. He does In Between the Rounds, all that stuff. So this is what Din Thomas says. Din Thomas, this is MMA Junkie. Shout out to MMA Junkie. God, I haven't said that name in a hot second. Those were the days. All right. Din Thomas stands behind and triples down on his year-old take that Magomed should be traded. So he says, not only am I doubling down, I'm tripling down. I'm still saying that it would be a better trade. Dakota Ditcheva?
Yep.
Dakota Ditcheva, a blonde-headed girl next door, a pretty girl that has an 80% knockout rate at that level is crazy. She would be the biggest star in the UFC. How do I want to tackle this? I agree with Din. Where is she more talented than Magomed? No. It's just that's where the women's side of fighting's at right now. They've also have a much later start, so we're going to see bigger stars and better stars, but Magomed will never be a star here. It's just not in the cards for him. It will never happen. So as far as monetizing and celebrity, and also she's very talented and also has an 80% finish rate, Din's 100% correct. As far as if just take yourself out of the purity of the sport, you have a very pretty female star, a.k.a. a lot of similarities to Ronda Rousey, right? And then you have a guy at light heavyweight who, insane fighter, world champion, but it's just not making a connection to the American fan base. If they did a trade, it would be great for the UFC. It would be terrible for the PFL. So when Din said, and I assume, I'm not speaking for him, I assume this, when Din says they should do a trade for Dakota and Magomed, he's saying this is what would be better for the UFC.
Of course, yeah.
Right? This is what's better for the UFC. Awful trade for the PFL. Awful trade. But my question for the PFL and the owners over there is, what are you doing with Dakota to bring in revenue to make her a bigger star? Because the hardcores, we all know Dakota. She's a fucking savage, pretty girl. She's PFL sitting on a fucking diamond, but they don't know how to polish that diamond. They can't. They don't know how. They don't know what the fuck to do. So Magomed, even with the UFC's marketing machine, all that stuff, they've squeezed all the juice they can. There's nothing we can do. So even if Dakota's not champion, even if she doesn't have the accolades and she doesn't go on this crazy win streak like Magomed, the UFC is still going to make more money off Dakota than they would Magomed. It's just the world we live in. And I can't believe this is even an argument. I'm not saying she's better than him. I'm not saying she's more skillful. None of that stuff. I'm saying the UFC business model now would make more money off Dakota than it would Magomed. Bar none. Matter of fact, Magomed's actually hurting the UFC. It's fucked up to say. Because if he goes out and beats Alex, who's a much bigger star than him, it actually hurts the UFC. Now, if you're a purist, you're like, well, the best of the best fight in the UFC, if he wins, he's the champ. I get that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about maximizing money, endorsement deals, TV time, a pretty girl who's very talented, who's a 500 fighter, we can get more money out of than this guy from Dagestan who's a beast but isn't good on the mic. His shit talking's a little dicey. It's just... And he's also so good that the stars you want to be the face of the UFC, he beats. That's an issue. So people will say the UFC has a star problem. My rebuttal to that is it's not that they have a star problem. They have a star problem as far as America goes. Mm-hmm. The issue the UFC has, it's not just the UFC, the issue the UFC has is they have an American roster problem because they can't figure out the wrestling of these guys over there in Dagestan and Chechnya. Because you look at the stars, it's all those guys. So we have a problem where we can't compete with them grappling wise. So it's not that it's a UFC problem, it's an American problem across the board. We can't compete with them because, of course, the UFC would like Sugar Sean O'Malley, Sean Strickland, Izzy, Alex, even Corey Sandhagen would be great. There's a ton of guys they would like at the top, but they can't beat those guys from that part of the world.